Hi, my name is Kinsey, and I'm going to be sharing with you today my PLN. So let me share my screen real fast. There we go. So on my homepage, I just have a little bit of who I am. My name's Kinsey. I'm a junior at UFIS. This coming spring will be my first semester in the education program. I started off college as a business major, thinking that it would be more financially rewarding, but I've always had a passion for teaching, and in the end, that won me over, obviously. My freshman and sophomore years, I worked as a nanny, and that experience made me fall in love with working with young children. So, my ideal grade would be first grade, but I'm super excited to work with any child, K through 6. And then if you scroll down, you see a little picture of me and my dog Piper and my teaching philosophy. I'm not going to read all of it, but just to kind of sum it up, my passion comes from wanting to provide every student with a safe and supportive environment where they can learn and express themselves freely. I think teaching such a young age, you're really laying the foundation of their confidence. And I obviously want to always build them up. My goal is to recognize and tend to each student with unique learning styles, and also making them feel confident while doing so. In my future classroom, I plan on creating a positive space for students where they are encouraged to make mistakes without fear of judgment. That's something I wish I had experienced more as a child, especially in math. And above all, I want my students to leave the classroom not only with more knowledge, but also a stronger sense of self-confidence. And then, like I said, my ideal grade would be first grade. So that's kind of just that welcome to first grade tab. And then I have my classroom expectations. When you're working with such a young age, I think rules can kind of just get lost in their head. So I think short, sweet, and to the point. So it's easy to remember. I have be respectful and kind to others always. Raise your hand and listen while others are talking. Take care of the classroom and the materials. And of course, always try your best. And I would also install a reward system rather than a discipline system. I think focusing on a reward system rather than a discipline system would create for a more positive and encouraging environment where rewarding students for good behavior encourages them to do their best all the time rather than focusing on bad behavior. Of course, there's going to be consequences. There's going to be verbal warnings and stuff of that sort, but I really liked what I found on Teach for the Heart website. They had an action plan. So it kind of would just be you would have your student do this during a free time or recess where they can kind of step away from their friends and think about why they aren't behaving correctly. And they would put on the action plan, why they're having to fill it out, what happened prior to the behavior, what goal can you make to correct this behavior in the future, and is there anything I can do as your teacher to help you? And I have just a couple classroom procedures. Obviously, not everything. I have a morning routine of coming in, get ready for class, put your things away, and then check the board for any starter assignments. Group activities and partner activities. Always be respectful of others. Listen when your partner is talking. Make sure you stay on task, no outside conversations, and keep your voice low so you can hear partners talk. And then just an end of the day routine, clean up any materials used during the day, gather your things that you need to go home, your folder, your homework, lunchbox, etc., and line up and wait for your name to be called. And some technology tools that I will definitely be using in the classroom is Google Classroom. It's just a classroom management tool that is good for accessing assignments, submitting work, participating in group discussions, and keeping up with due dates. Another fun one is Kahoot. It's a question-based game that helps keep students engaged while also testing their knowledge on various subjects. And Class Dojo, sort of similar to Google Classroom. It kind of tracks behavior, and you're able to communicate with parents through there. And then I just have a little contact info page, obviously fake, and some learning resources and helpful websites. We have apps, websites with the links, and then just some additional resources that can be used. And I have my game review. I said social impact and change related games help students by collaborating and working through critical thinking skills. They're able to learn through interactive games, which can help students become more engaged while also learning. Playing these games helps students learn digital skills through digital world that can help them navigate the real world outside. Both games that I reviewed came from PBS Kids. I chose Park Builder and Build a Boat. And here I have just some fun memes, kind of relatable. And here's my speech-to-text software that I chose. This is kind of for students who have a harder time communicating their thoughts and putting it down on paper, or just who struggle with using a keyboard. The first software that I chose is Otter.ai. All of these are kind of similar. Otter AI can be used for many languages, and it provides a real-time transcript. Then I have Lily Speech, which allows you to type using your voice anywhere in Windows, and Evernote. This is used more for note-taking, where you can embed images and audio into your notes. And text-to-speech software. This can be used for anybody who is having trouble with English. Maybe it's not their first language, or they're just still learning some words. Or if you struggle with dyslexia, it kind of just takes the frustration out of not being able to fully comprehend. And it also, you're becoming more familiar while learning. The first one I chose is Read and Write for Google Chrome. It allows you to read text aloud, and it writes it for you. And then it also has proofing papers, which I think is really helpful. This next one, Natural Reader, I think is really cool. It has natural sounding voices created by AI. So when you're listening to these websites, books, PDFs, it's not boring. It's not a robot. It's not Siri. And then I have Voice Dream Reader, which is just a lot of ebooks. You can listen to PDFs. Here are some assignments. For my pre-assessment, I would give this at the beginning of each year to test the students' current knowledge over a subject that was covered in previous years. Obviously, these won't be taken for a grade. It's just kind of to gauge where your students are at and what you kind of need to go over from the years before. And for my formative assessment, I chose an exit ticket. I would give these out at the end of each new lesson. Not necessarily to test material, just kind of see where the student is feeling on a particular subject, what they want me to go over, what they liked about the lesson, just kind of stuff like that. And then obviously, once the unit's covered, you can do quizzes, peer reviews, something to test the students' overall comprehensiveness, not just how they're feeling. And then obviously a test given at the end of each unit to give them a grade for their overall knowledge. And lastly, I have assistive technology resources. Once again, Google Classroom, I talked about that earlier. It's just a good way to distribute assignments and communicate with your students. I have Padlet. It allows you to create canvases and boards for visual learners and thinkers, which is really good. I'm definitely a more visual learner. And Docebo, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but it's kind of similar to Google Classroom. You can distribute assignments, create tasks, collaborate with students while also tracking the students' progress. So that is all I have for my PLN. I hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you for taking the time to watch it. Bye.